So let's talk about when the physical and spiritual meet, you know, because everybody's looking for the truth, and I feel like that's where the truth's at. Everybody wants to be spiritual, and then the atheists want to just be physical. So, the flat earth, unfortunately for most of here, is where the physical and spiritual meet. If this is, the entire universe, the earth as we know it, as a flat plane, you know, meaning that all the microbacteria, all the ocean life, all the land life, everything from the smallest form to humans, to the earth as a whole, you could say that all the alien life is already here. Like, there's an alien, like an octopus and, microbacteria, like that's alien to us. But we take it for granted because we've been taught that, there's all these other planets and that Earth is just, one portion of all this. So if it's the actual whole of the universe, and the sun and the moon are the physical manifestations of, the male and feminine or masculine and feminine, or light and dark, whatever you want to call it in the world of duality, if that's the manifestation of that, and, there's a blueprint to this life that's within us, is also without, as above, so below, we have the dual nature to us, as every human. Like the old native culture said, whatever wolf you feed. But basically, everything is dual, the yin yang in this world. So, if that's a manifestation of the spiritual, that means that literally this world we're living in is, you know, a representation of our soul physically, and, a representation of just our consciousness in the physical. And I think that's what it would be. Like, if you think about a dream, when you dream, that's just you, drifting off in consciousness, and then things start to materialize. Things start to become real. And, you could say they're not real, they're just a dream. But when you're in that experience is very real in that time. And then when you wake up, this is real. So whatever, every now moment is real, no matter where you're at. But if a dream can manifest, physical things that seem physical, what's so different about this life? We came in to this life, and maybe, some form of consciousness greater than ours that maybe we're a part of created, it just manifested physically, and we've been in it since, but it's a manifestation of our inside and our, you know, the battle between light and dark and all that. But I just feel like that's definitely where the physical and spiritual meet, because first there has to be an intelligent design of it, the way that everything works on Earth. If you look at the trees, the grass, the, you know, food that's here, the water, the rivers, the sun, the moon, everything, the oxygen is perfect for life. It's a perfect, our body, the way that it works with all the bones and, muscles, tissues, organs, and blood and vessels and all that, and it works perfectly to make us be able to breathe, and then even be able to live and question ourselves, and to like reflect upon that as a whole nother level. We can reflect upon, you know, the perfectness of our body and our world and everything. So that's even a whole nother level, you know. But it's just too perfect for there not to be some type of intelligent design, and that's where the spiritual comes in. Is that when you start to connect the outside with the inside, things become one, and that's where the unification happens. The Masons knew this. Everybody, all the ancient Egyptians. That's why they always had the sun, moon, as on each pillar as the balance, and then the stairway to heaven went to the North Star, Polaris, which Albert Pike, a famous Freemason, is quoted saying that Polaris is, Osiris, the all-seeing, you know, the Most High, and that anytime you see the all-seeing eye, it represents Sirius, and that's not a very well-known thing. I mean, Polaris. And that's not a very well-known thing, but Polaris is very important, and that might be where the unification happens in the physical. But all I know is that flat Earth, has definitely awakened. If this is the full universe, as we know it, then it's basically like some people want to run from that, but when you face it, it's just like this is everything, and you can figure it out because this you're here for a purpose. This is what you're here for. You're not here to leave this place. This is like a video game level. I know people don't want to say that, but you know you're here for that level. And once you beat that level, if you don't, maybe you go back to the beginning. But if you beat it, maybe you go somewhere else. But if you think about it, virtual reality nowadays, you put on the goggles and you go in and you see everything in a different world. You don't see out here, you just see that world. That's just one sense. That's just your eyes. Now imagine, your eyes and ears and maybe taste or three of them. And then now imagine all five in a virtual reality, and that this is the body. The goggles you put on. What if that's this body and your soul goes into it, and we now have these senses in this world, but once we leave this body, we don't see through that lens anymore of the body. But that's why I think it may be some type of basically the highest level. If you could create a video game that was the highest level ever of virtual reality and actually being in the game and all that, this is what it would be. This is the most perfect video game archetype you could ever make, virtual reality wise. And it's not to say, oh, it's God didn't make it. No, God is perfect, and that's why everything is perfect, because it's the perfect manifestation of a game that we want to play. Because at the end of the day, life is a game, no matter if it has hurt and pain and joy and all these other things. End of the day, we're here to enjoy, experience, and live this thing called life. It's kind of similar to a game, and we got to figure out the rules and you know nature's rules and how to get by and how to win in this thing. So thinking it's a video game is actually a very spiritual thing, because not a video game, but some type of simulation with intelligent design. It's like you're here for a purpose, and it gets very lucid at that point. I think lucid is the best word, and it's pretty much all I got to say. But stay learning. I love everybody. you know Hate, violence, any of that, not the way, not the wave. So yeah, like, share, subscribe. But I think it goes pretty deep in this thing we call Earth, the universe. So peace out, y'all.